Welcome to Huddle for Success, real talk, real goals, and real results, where they help you make it happen in your life and business. Your hosts are Mark Bruce and Duane Gibbs, and they're here to help you level up your mindset, growth, and your success. Whether you're after personal growth or financial growth, they have you covered. Now let's huddle up.
Well, good morning. Why your results don't change until you do. Welcome to Huddle for Success. I'm your host, Duane Gibbs. Alongside of me, as always, my partner, Mark Bruce, the Hall of Famer, where we come to you every Monday with an episode for our podcast. And today, great message, Mark, you put together. And, it's your identity. Who do you believe you are? And so, good morning to you, and excited about today's topic.
Good morning to you too. Yeah, I've got so many examples of the person that I used to think I was, and now I'm not, and that's kind of how it came about. So I'm excited to get into it too.
Yeah, because the truth is, you don't need more strategies. You need a new identity, and most people try to change their life at a level of behavior of, hey, I'm going to try harder. I'm going to be more disciplined. I need to push myself harder, but you can't work out a self-image that's working against you. If someone believes that they're, really off, they have a hard time believing that all is good. Everything is good, everything's staying the same. But we were talking earlier about, before we started this, about the identity. And my stepdaughter, she believed in
Santa Claus.
Food.
Oh no.
She believed in food that she didn't like because she grew up, hey, I don't like that. Mom said I don't like it. Or I remember trying that. And I said, how old were you when you tried it? Well, I was 3 or 5. And I'm like, I can assure you that it's harder to remember. You remember just because, well, mom doesn't like it, so maybe you don't care for it, or I don't care for this, so you don't care for it. And so, that's really not true. I made something for her, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember the reaction of, wow, that's pretty good. And I said, see, you said you didn't like it, but you really do. And so it comes with all aspects of life, not just with food, but the way you view someone's opinion, the way you take someone's criticism, the way you frame your day to day, the way you frame your business. And so we all have an identity, and it goes back 10, 20, 30 years.
It might even go back further than that. I've been thinking about it. I mean, but our identity, a lot of it comes from our genes, and it's built into us. It all comes from our self-conscious, which, when you're born, you have, well, as an adult, you have two minds. You've got your subconscious mind that can't decide truth from, I mean, it just absorbs everything. And your conscious mind is what you think with, and you can decide good or bad. Your conscious mind can make decisions. It's what we use to, protect ourselves. We see things out in the wild, and we know danger. So that's the conscious mind. But the subconscious mind is what we started with. Until you're about 3 years old, you really don't have a conscious mind. Think about, what can you remember from being born to 3 years old? I've got like one, maybe two things that I can remember. I keep trying, and
I don't know if I can remember from when I was 3, but 5, 6, 7, I can't remember anything daily, but there's certain things that stick out. And why? Because that's your identity.
Exactly. That's how your identity gets built. All those
That's
things.
right.
And
That's right.
they
It's
get,
like a movie that you watch over and over, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that.
right.
Same thing with your identity, of your life.
Yeah. I mean, we learn how to speak the language we speak. By the time we're 3 or 4 years old, we can speak, and yet I've been trying to learn Spanish for a while, and now that I'm
Mm.
65, it's not quite as easy to learn Spanish because I keep telling myself subconsciously, I have a hard time learning Spanish. And that's my identity that I just can't get over. If I were to change my identity and say, I I can speak Spanish fluently, I've learned it well, and everybody understands everything that I say, and I understand everything that everybody else says to me in Spanish. I could learn Spanish.
Well, everybody, I will tell you when starts speaking Spanish, he'll be by himself because I won't have any idea what he's saying. So when you see me not here and he's doing an episode, that must mean be prepared. He's speaking Spanish.
Well,
Yeah,
preparing to move to Costa Rica.
yeah, yeah. But reinventing doesn't take years. It just takes a decision. It
Absolutely.
just takes a decision of what, we talk about our cards, writing down different affirmations, and you talk about it all the time of what is it that you really want to change. And it's not something that you feel like that it's a pressure or it's something that you have to do, but there becomes a point. I don't know about you, but the older I get, the more I want to learn. I want to learn more about history, things that I really didn't care about in school,
Ah,
sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th grade. I just want to get done with school. That's the way I felt. And I was ready to go to work. I had a mission and what I wanted to do. But the older I get, the more I want to learn. And I think that's why so much I enjoy working with people one-on-one, is because I love hearing people's affirmation. I love hearing what they do day to day and where they get stuck at, because we're our own worst critic. I've spent years and years of helping people with their problems, their issues, their situations, their wins, helping them get through their failures and doing that fine. When it comes to my failures or things that I didn't do right or things I need to change, that going, I hit a wall. We're our own worst critic. We're harder on us, which is good, because that means that you're learning, you're being able to reinvent that thought process. And um, you know, I don't know. I get
It,
tongue
it it
tied,
it
but
happens. It happens to us all through our life. I mean, I've been
hmm
I've been reading Think and Grow Rich and studying Bob Proctor since 2020, and I know everything that I should do. I will tell you, I was doing my LinkedIn picture and profile and trying to set up my LinkedIn page. And I was working with a group of people, and I just kept saying in my head, I kept hearing myself say in my head, I can't figure this out. I can't, this is not right. I can't.
hmm
But I got on with a mastermind and I was going to bring mine in to see it. But before I was up, three other people went, and I knew exactly what those three people should put on their website after just hearing them talk for 2 minutes.
hmm
And they did the same for me. And it's like, oh my gosh, sometimes you just can't see your own identity because you're in it so deep. It's that. Do you ever experience that where
Yeah,
you?
well, absolutely. So, it's a good point that you bring that up. So in our mastermind, um, I did something, or I was struggling with something, and I don't remember if it was who it was that brought it up. I don't know if it was Uva or who it was, but uh, brought up, try this way. Did you ever think about this? And I don't remember what it was. At that particular time, it made an impact. I've slept since then, so I don't remember. I'm sure I have it written down in my notes, but um,
Yeah.
I was like, daggone, I've been struggling with this for months, and being able to bring it to the group that, I love being around people that are smarter than I, to learn from, but I also love sharing my experience. It's not a matter of who's smarter, it's who's experienced more and who's been through that. And at the end of the day, your mindset it changes once you're in a group setting like that.
Hey, and sometimes the person that helps you doesn't even know the answer themselves. They just ask the right question
That's right.
that got your brain thinking. It's like, oh yeah, that's a great question. I had that happen to me. I was in a leadership conference. It happened to me. I said, I was thinking about this idea. It's kind of silly. I don't know what it means. And they asked the question, well, what does it mean? It's like, oh, well, I guess I should take time to think about it. And I thought about it and I came up with it. But yeah, the first time that I remember having an identity issue was in elementary school. I was convinced that I was great at math and I was really bad at reading. And I convinced myself that I was a slow reader. I couldn't read fast. I was never going to be able to read fast. And that stayed with me until after college.
Hmm.
Well after college. I was even telling myself I can't read well after college. Always good at math, loved numbers, but couldn't read. And I took a speed reading course with a friend of mine, and it was more like a visual reading class. And they told me to do one thing that was really strange. They said, practice.
Yeah.
Practice. Oh my gosh. You mean I should
There's the
practice
magic
reading
word.
faster? It's like, okay. So, you know,
I have some notes written down, and you talked about a personal example. You talked about when you sold your first business.
um, well,
Remember?
yes, when we sold our tanning salon business, I was working with a mastermind coach, and I didn't know what I wanted to do next. So
Hmm.
I was kind of stuck, lost. What is the next thing that's going to add meaning to my life? And I had a couple ideas, but I couldn't decide on one. And
Hmm.
um, I think I was I I did used to have a problem with procrastination until I picked Think and Grow Rich back up and read its chapter on decision every day for a month. It's a very long
Hmm.
chapter, but decision, I never realized that decision is the opposite of procrastination. And if you're procrastinating on something, all you have to do is decide to either do it or throw it away.
Yeah.
But I couldn't decide what to do. So we did a few exercises. Eventually, I made the decision to get into the real estate rental property business, um, and I started studying people that had done well in that, and that kind of became my new identity. Um, Real estate
Different
investing.
vision. It was a vision.
It was a vision. I wanted to own 50 rental properties, have X number. That was my goal. And that is one of the goals that I never actually achieved because once I worked towards that goal, I saw another path, and that's kind of when I met you and learned the note business and
Yeah.
that fit my personality a whole lot better than rental properties.
There are clients that we've dealt with that hit a ceiling, and we always say, hey, it's not their lack of ability, it's just the lack of, their identity. They say once they understand it, they feel like it's attached to them. How can I get rid of this? And it's just the way of thinking. You have to condition your mind. You have to condition your mind of, I'm not going to do, what's the old saying? If you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you've always gotten.
Yep.
And so, with that being said, that holds true to anything, whether it's personal life or relationship or business. You have to change that pattern.
Yeah. So can you think of one example when you kind of had a self-image of yourself
Absolutely.
and that you wanted to change it, and how did you overcome that?
Practice. Now that you bring it to full circle, practice. And so when I was young, first grade, I had a vision problem, and so I couldn't see. Teacher always put me in back of the room, couldn't see, became the class clown. because I couldn't see, I wasn't doing any work. And so there was an issue with obviously my vision. And so because I couldn't see the board, heck, I just figured it was playtime and obviously not the right time. Through time talking about reading, it became a problem because I was getting behind. And, the guidance counselor came to my parents at a young age and, oh, he's not performing. Has a hard time reading. What is that? Took me to the eye doctor, got glasses, really then struggled with it because feeling like, kids are mean and, now wearing glasses. And most of my friends, none of them had glasses. And you felt kind of like the ugly duckling. You're going back 55 years. And so it was a problem at what, 6 years old, 7 years old. And so it held me back for a while of trying to get caught up. So everybody else is now third grade and I'm still stuck in first grade. I get held back a year. So now everybody went second grade, reading at a third grade, and I'm still at a first grade. So I was always behind. And I always felt like, your reading's not where it needs to be. And so it became an issue of self-doubt. It became an issue of, I have dyslexia. So I don't recommend it. I just live with it. And so my brain goes way faster than I can read. And so I have to practice that. I have to practice on reading. I have to practice on slowing my mind down. I have to say, you know what, you're not that 7-year-old boy anymore. You're a grown man and you need to do things differently. And so it's constant mind feed change that you deal with day to day. And especially if it's been with you through your whole life, it becomes an issue of, what do you do? And you got to be able to read. And just like you said, how did I change it? Well, I practiced. I just practiced and practiced and practiced, and till it became more reflexive.
One of the worst things that you can say to yourself over and over is, well, that's just me. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
That's just how I live. That's just what I do. That's just me. That's one of the worst things that you can say to yourself. And that's what we want to help everybody kind of overcome that. And just knowing that, hopefully it enlightens a little bit.
I would, if I had an issue growing up and I'd go to my dad and he'd say, God love him, but he would always say, I don't know. I'm just me. I can't really help you with that issue. I never had to experience that. Um, and I'm like, well, little help here.
Well,
And it was, he was a great father, but to tell, he never was one to um, inflict something on me. He wanted me to figure it out. Not that he was supportive. It was, you need to figure it out. You're becoming a teenager. You're becoming a young man. You're becoming an adult. And so, even though that's not what I wanted to hear, I respect it now that I'm older because now I understand I was able to get over those challenges a lot easier.
right.
And
Hey, when somebody doesn't have the answer for you, like your dad, then you just got to go find somebody that does.
that's right. That's right.
You
No
know,
question. And over the years,
you've been
30
great.
years, I had students that I was helping, like you, helping in an area that they needed help with. But you know what? I really learned a lot from my students over the years just because they helped me in areas that people helped me that they don't even know that they helped me. And it's kind of like a witness to a crime. I love crime shows, and the witness says, "I don't think I can help you. I don't want to give you any information." And the detective always says, "Just talk it through. Just talk it through. Let's talk about it. There's more information than you have inside that you noticed that you don't know that you know." And so after they're talking, and the detective typically says, "Thank you so much for the information," because they really helped them more than the individual thought they could.
Absolutely. The right questions always lead to very interesting answers.
Absolutely.
Which,
Absolutely.
all right, so here's how we help our clients reinvent their identity. There's a 3-step framework that you can use, and they're easy steps. Um, Decide who you want to become next. Just decide who you want to be. Do you want to be a landlord of 50 homes? Do you want to be a coach? Decide who you want to be. That's the first step. Then act in alignment before you feel like you're ready. I will tell you, the first time that I coached somebody, I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this. And the reality is, it's the two, as you said, you've had students teach you, as have I.
Yeah, of course.
It's the conversations that help. So act in alignment before you feel ready. Go in with the proper mindset that I can help this person, even if I just ask the right question. And then speak to yourself. When you talk to yourself, that little head inside yourself, speak to yourself like you already are that person that you want to become. Respect yourself. Give yourself that respect. Um, if you talk to yourself as you want to be, that tells your subconscious who you really are. Your subconscious believes that. Whether your conscious mind believes it or not, it's going to take repetition. It might take 30 days of telling yourself, and it might take some people 6 months to do that, but that's the way to do it. It's kind of like the actor's method. Some of you might have seen my puppy. Gene and I have a 1.5-year-old puppy who's still a bit of a puppy, but we hired a trainer to help us
Oh,
work.
she's a puppy.
And our trainer has a dog that is an actor who's actually starring. Well, we say she's starring in a Netflix limited series. Claire Danes is the actual star of it, but um, her dog's name's Lemon. Lemon's a cute little female schnoodle, little white puffball. And in the TV episode, she plays Steve, a little white puffball. But uh, anyway, Claire Danes in this one scene, Steve is barking out the window, and Claire Danes has to come in, run up and grab her and see what's wrong. And Sam, our trainer, said she scared us to death. We thought that there was really an emergency because she came in with that feeling of panic and grabbed up Lemon playing Steve, and just everybody felt panicked on the set. And then they said cut, and everything was back to normal.
Mm,
So that's kind of what you need to do when you speak to yourself and you act in alignment to who you want to become.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where where the standard come in, where it comes in at is your identity is revealed by what you tolerate,
Yeah. Yep.
by what you tolerate. And I was thinking a minute ago, and it escaped me. I didn't want to interrupt you, but um, I had something that it was meaningful at the time, and now it's gone. And
Sorry, I,
uh,
I ran way too long with that story, but
no,
I
that's
just heard that
fine.
story last night because we were working with Sam.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I had something that I wanted to say or bring up, but it must not have been important. So that's okay.
We'll save that for the next
Yeah, we'll save it for next time. Maybe it'll come back around in the Rolodex at another juncture. So um awesome. Great topic today. Loved it. Um Anything else that you want to add before we go?
No, I think you know, write it down. Write down who you want to become on your goal card as if you are already that person. Read it every morning, read it every night, stick it in your pocket, and every time you touch it, think that that is who you are, and you will become that person.
Yeah. I would say if you know what you want currently and you believe it's you, look at what you allow in your time, in your relationship, in your habit, in your finances. And then when you raise your standard, your identity um,
Follow.
expands to match. It really will. It will change. It will definitely change.
Yep. Yeah. Great point. Great point. I
Yeah.
love it.
Hey, listen, we appreciate you, the listener. Tune in every single week that we do our podcast every Monday, and also join in every Wednesday and Friday where we do a quick huddle up. It's a quick mindful thought of the week, and it just keeps you engaged. If you haven't gone to huddleforsuccess.com, go there and get your playbook for life. You can also go to Amazon now. It is available on Amazon in paperback. But like, share, leave a comment. We appreciate the comments and people sending in messages to us. So with that being said, stay huddled up, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Huddle for Success. If you found it helpful and want to support others on their journey, share this podcast, leave us a rating, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you next week on Huddle for Success. Stay huddled up.